Good morning, everyone, or I guess good afternoon to you, Will, right? We've got a lot on the agenda from AI in medicine and AlphaFold to Apple's revamped iPad, a bit about self-driving cars, and we always end up chatting about OpenAI or ChatGPT, so we'll touch on that. But the first thing I wanted to talk about, last week I was in Ohio. I went to a conference called CEX. It stands for Content Entrepreneur Expo. I attended one session called Creating a Digital Doppelganger by Andrew Davis. He is an author and a keynote speaker, and he has 5 main topics that he touches upon, one of which is the magic of AI. He talks a lot about how most AI generated content is kind of generic, at least at first, and sometimes the language is nonsensical. But once you build your digital doppelganger, AI kind of becomes more of your collaborator because it augments and amplifies your talent. And he spent a lot of time at the beginning sharing this relatable graph of our relationship with AI. To me, it kind of looked like a roller coaster, but there was this overarching triangle of awe and wonder, fear and concern, and ethical unease. And the entire time he was talking about this, I was like, oh my God, how did he know? I know AI has been around for a long time, but my first introduction to the current AI that everybody's talking about was ChatGPT. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then I went down to this is a little weird. It makes me a little concerned. I'm not sure what I'm concerned about, but it's a little strange. Then I was like, wait a minute. Is there copyright related to this? What about regulations? And then I changed how I was using it and I was sort of back to that. This is amazing, and I'm just kind of curious. I know you didn't obviously see the session, but as he was showing us this kind of roller coaster graph of our emotions toward AI, it was very relatable to me. So my first question was, is it relatable to you?
Yeah, I definitely had the same thing. At first you're like, gosh, this is super cool. How can I use this best? And then you hear stuff, you think about it a bit more, and you're like, oh, actually, maybe this could be a little bit scary, the possibility of where this could go. And you kind of you rationalize that and go back to, oh, this is amazing. And you keep going like that. And I think that'll happen again. People will be like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And then people will be scared and it'll go down. And so, yeah, I think this cycle is definitely relatable to me and to pretty much everyone. And I think it also describes the industry as a whole, not just us on an individual level, but what the whole AI industry is kind of thinking.
My next question is, he spoke so much about creating these digital doppelgangers. And I feel like maybe you kind of have experience in it, especially at Clerk Chat, where we're creating these AI assistants and you're helping create them for different companies that are using them as either sales agents or customer service agents or support agents or whatever it may be. I feel like you have a little bit of insight more into the digital doppelganger than I do. So what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, it's super interesting, that idea of a digital doppelganger, and then that will kind of collaborate with us. That's where a lot of the foremost thinkers in AI think it's going to go, which is when it's AGI, so just basically indistinguishable from a human. It will be collaborating with you, it will be your assistant, and it will know you so well that they'll be able to execute tasks just how you would and kind of collaborate with you, which is, that's actually what a doppelganger is, right? Someone that does something the exact same as you.
But you have to train it in order to get it to that point.
You're right, yeah. The thing would be at the moment, we don't really have that because AI is just, it's good, but it's super general. It's just trained on general stuff and it's not very specific. You can train it and prompt it to get specific, and then it does a better job, which you're right is similar to what we're doing at Clerk Chat. So prompting it to be specific to a use case or specific to a company. And just as new models come out and AI gets better, we'll have even better doppelgangers that we can rely on and collaborate with more. And then that leads into the whole cycle again, doesn't it? Yeah.
A suggestion that I remember Andrew had made when I was in the session was, after you're given back whatever content from the AI, and you go in and make the edits to it yourself, you take it, you put it into a Google Doc, you make some edits or whatever, you can put it back into your AI and say, here are the edits I made, and ask it, what did you learn from my edits? What is my style? And then the AI will come back and say, here is what I have learned about your writing style, or here is what I've learned about your customer service style. I thought it was a really good tip.
Yeah, that is super interesting. And then you can start to build up this kind of AI that has examples of you in a bunch of different scenarios, like whether it's writing an essay or content creation. And we did actually try something similar maybe a couple of months ago when I was doing some prompting for Clerk Chat, which was I wanted the AI to have this sales interaction. And so I created a few ideal sales conversations, like text message conversations. And then I fed this to ChatGPT and said basically like, this is an ideal. How, like, what does a prompt for that look like that I could feed to you to get that sort of response? Which is kind of similar idea, I think, to what you just said Andrew was promoting.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool.
So kind of reverse engineering it, giving an example and saying work back from this to like, how would you do this?
And I can't wait to hear more about that as you kind of go through the motions and even improve the results that the AI gives back.
Yeah,
That's neat. So I read the Morning Brew. There was an article, I think I read it maybe late last week, saying the next drug you take may be designed by AI. We all know that research that goes into creating a medication takes resources, time, and money, an incredible amount. A line from the article was, Google raised the stakes yesterday when its DeepMind AI research laboratory, in partnership with Isomorphic Labs, released AlphaFold 3, an AI model that predicts the structure and interactions of all of life's molecules. Another thought, I know that at least for quite a while, there's been a major drug shortage going on. There are certain medications that are just incredibly difficult to get currently on and off. There are a couple pieces here that we have to unpack, I know, but number one, will using AI to create medications add to the shortage or help in that it could potentially create more alternatives and potentially alternatives that are better suited for a person's DNA? I know you had done some research on AlphaFold, and I'm not as well versed on it, but maybe you want to share a bit about that also to tie in.
What I understand from AlphaFold is it's essentially able to predict how molecules interact with each other and predict the structure of those molecules. And yeah, I think
that seems like it's a big deal.
That's a pretty big deal, yeah, because, well, so I've read, because we can basically, if we can predict how molecules will interact when this comes to diseases, illnesses, we can see what the result will be. And also from knowing the structure, we can build medicine to kind of tackle the bad bits. I'm not a biologist, so don't quote me on that. But there was already AlphaFold 2 that came out in 2020, which has helped with developing some cancer treatments, other types of treatments. But AlphaFold 3 has basically done it for every molecule that we have, that we know of. So yeah, it's a much bigger step. And so your question was, will this contribute to this shortage? Yeah, I think it could, in the sense that, like, suddenly we could build more, we could develop many more drugs, and like we don't have enough resources, so we've got like this solution, but only like very few resources can be dedicated to that. So literally not a lot of that drug can be produced. But I think actually it will have a more positive impact generally, because even medicines that we already have a solution for, it could come up with a way for us to more efficiently design how to like dose it, or how to give that, that cure to somebody, which utilizes our resources better, and so it's easier to get it around the world, that sort of thing. Or yeah, I just think it will help us, one, design treatments, but then also make them more efficient.
I was also thinking, just from a efficiency standpoint, let's say there's one symptom and a doctor is trying to treat that one symptom, and there are 5 medications that could potentially treat that one symptom. But not all 5 medications will work for that individual based on their own chemical makeup. Or maybe that individual will have really strange side effects to some of those medications. So currently, the only way to know really is by trial and error. Trying one, seeing how it works. That whole process could take a while until you, in theory, get to the right one. So I'm also wondering now, maybe this could speed up that process a bit and better matching the medication to a person's needs based on, I don't know how you worded it, the protein.
Yeah.
to the chemical makeup, the DNA of the person.
Yeah, it's kind of tailoring it to like someone's individual DNA makeup.
Yeah.
I'm sure like the first time they try a drug that to like cure whatever it is, they don't need to keep switching. That would be super powerful. Yeah.
So next up, from Bloomberg, Apple revamps iPads with AI-focused Pro model, bigger Air. So from what I understand, the iPad Air hasn't been redesigned since 2018. I'm not in the market for an iPad at the moment. It's thinner, has an Ultra Retina XDR screen with OLED technology, an M4 chip, a larger screen size. Apple says that the neural engine is 60 times faster than the original one from 2017, and in quotes, that will help the iPad Pro handle AI tasks on the device itself. Apple plans to further discuss its artificial intelligence plans on June 10th as part of its Worldwide Developers Conference, so I guess we won't really know what AI capabilities the iPad really will have also, or I guess it's being built to work with AI capabilities. But what I thought was really interesting, did you happen to see the video that Tim Cook revealed on X? There were 57 million people at the time that I saw it who watched it, but the overwhelming majority were so disappointed.
I saw that. I didn't understand why everyone hated the advert so much.
Here's my opinion, and maybe I read it wrong. I'm very diplomatic. I like to listen to every side of the story before I make any kind of judgment on anything. When it comes to AI, I think there are a lot of different camps when it comes to creativity, and a lot of creatives, I think, are very concerned about what AI is doing to their creativity from the standpoint of stealing. Yeah. Not necessarily the fact that people who don't have creative ability are able to create with AI, but like they've spent all this time creating and AI can like pull from their creations. And it's like, where is copyright for it? So I don't know, but the overwhelming majority did not like this ad.
Yeah, I mean, what I took from it was that like, because the advert is like a bunch of things like a piano, paint, like clock, whatever, being like crushed into one.
Yeah.
And what I got from that was that all of these things you can do on an iPad. That was like the message I took from it. Like I could play the piano, I can play a video game, I can like paint, I can do whatever I want. All of these things have been crushed down to like this. That's what I took from it. I thought, oh, I mean, it's true. And also, like, I understand the arc, like the perspective, like from a creator standpoint.
Right. So I see that perspective also. Like, look at the ability that this really thin device has for us.
Yeah.
How amazing is this?
I heard a rumor about Apple is that they'll be building like an on-device AI. So rather than ChatGPT, where it's like in the cloud, and you basically have to talk to OpenAI to use their model, this would be like an on-device one, which actually would be supported by the processor being, was it 60 times more powerful, did you say?
Right.
Yeah. So that would indicate that they're going to have some sort of on-device AI that will be able to actually...
Oh, the neural engine you were talking about, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Which has got some positives, because if it's on-device, it means that your data is not being sent to another third party like OpenAI, processed and then sent back. It like all stays on your device. And
I feel people would appreciate that if that's the case, because the conversation about what happens to our data is huge.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, albeit an AI is still using your data, it's just Apple's one, and it's like on your device. Yes. So a model is still accessing it, but yeah, it's definitely safer in terms of it's not being sent to OpenAI or Anthropic, and
yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
So I'm curious if you happen to know anything about this company called Wayve, which is a company based out of the UK. I read an article in the BBC. A UK startup gets $1 billion funding for self-driving car tech. So what I thought was interesting about this company is that it supports embodied AI for autonomous driving. They raised $1.05 billion in funding. Microsoft and NVIDIA are included in the companies that are supporting it. I didn't really understand what embodied AI was, but I don't know if I read it either on Wayve's website or if I read it on this BBC article. But in quotes, unlike AI models carrying out cognitive or generative tasks such as answering questions or creating pictures, this new technology interacts with and learns from real-world surroundings and environments.
And yeah, the idea of embodied AI does sound cool. Again, it's kind of like two words put together that sound cool, but I don't actually know what that means, you know?
Me neither. I
Yeah,
feel like I need to do a little bit more research on it.
yeah. But I mean, the idea of it does sound a bit like a Tesla, because Tesla are also building their AI. Actually, Elon Musk said this thing a few weeks ago that was like, yeah, Tesla is by far the biggest AI company. But I don't know if he was just saying that to like boost his own ego, but because they invest so much in their AI for their car, you have to take everything he says with a pinch of salt. But yeah, it does seem like a Tesla type thing, like autonomous driving with AI.
And then something else I wanted to bring up, which I was really appreciative of, the New York Times now has an AI initiatives team. So I was an English and journalism major way back when in college, way back when, 20 years ago. And I see why AI in journalism is a whole conversation in and of itself. So I think it's really cool that the New York Times is being proactive in creating a team. They said, we will always use AI as a tool in service of our mission, transparently and ethically, and with human guidance and review. That came from the principles for using generative AI in the Times newsroom. So it's not really anything to discuss, just more of me showing appreciative of the fact that this huge news outlet that a lot of people go to as a source wants to be transparent about how they're using AI and that they're going to be using it. They're going to be using it, number one, but they're also going to be using it ethically.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought that
think
was a
it's
great
super good.
approach.
Yeah, and also that they're being transparent about. I mean, I haven't actually read it, so it'd be interesting to see what they say. But yeah, you're right. It's a good step.
So, Will, is there any other AI news that I have missed this week that you would like to share? Maybe ChatGPT updates or anything that we did not yet cover?
I was going to bring this up actually in relation to what you just talking about content creators earlier. You may have seen in my newsletter that OpenAI are building a tool to let content creators opt out of AI training. So basically, if you're like an artist, they won't take all of your pictures and train the model on them. You can opt out. Yes, I did a little bit of a deep dive, and there's already some ways of doing it. Like, because basically what OpenAI does is they scrape every website to get data from it, and then they train their model on it. But you can put some code in your website that basically like blocks scrapers / alerts them not to scrape this website, not to get the data from this website.
Interesting.
And OpenAI will respect that, which is good. And like, I think it is a good move.
So now I'm thinking, so someone creates something, whether it's music, video, image, writing, it's out there on the internet somewhere. An AI model can come in to learn and take all that data. But now there is an ability for when, on the back end, for when someone posts their creative work somewhere, they can kind of put in a disclaimer that says, do not take my work.
Yeah. Well, slight caveat, they say it will be ready by 2025.
The small, tiny print.
We're working on this meticulously for the next year and a half. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see how that goes forward.
And how many people actually end up using it too.
Yeah, and also OpenAI kind of made an argument about like how useful would AI be if it wasn't trained on people's content. Like that's kind of what makes it super special. Not to say that's the right thing, but that is what, makes it really, really powerful.
Awesome. Shall we wrap up?
Yeah, perfect. That's good.
It was great talking.
And yeah, likewise.
I look forward to catching up next week. Maybe
Yeah.
by then we'll have come up with a name for this segment.
Oh yeah, we need a proper one. The Jill and Will rhyme is good, but we'll think of it.
Yeah. We need to add something in there. Awesome. You have a good week and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Jill. Bye.